Here's an idea I know Niall will love. Republican Congresswoman Paulina has introduced a bill on Tuesday to carve President Trump's face onto Mount Rushmore. That would be alongside George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and also Abraham Lincoln. Luna wrote on X, his remarkable accomplishments for our country and the success he will continue to deliver deserve the highest recognition and honor on this iconic national monument.
The Florida Congresswoman is not the first one suggesting the idea. Panelists on Fox News, of course, voiced support. Let's watch.
Hey, there's room up there. I think it'd be great. I think what Donald Trump has done and is in the process of doing is transforming the United States of America and putting America first. And I think America loves it. And I think there's a great case for it.
Kayla?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this because that would be some sweet irony after President Joe Biden stopped the fireworks display from Mount Rushmore. So if you did the 250th anniversary of the country at Mount Rushmore with President Trump's face, it would be epic.
Not quite sure what to say about that, but in any event, President Trump back in 2020 did post a picture of himself, and there it is, standing in front of Mount Rushmore. In 1999, Congress debated and later rejected adding President Ronald Reagan to the historic South Dakota hills.
Trump aide and former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski had this to say on the issue.
Donald Trump's face on Mount Rushmore, okay? What are we waiting on? We can rename the Ronald Reagan Airport. It used to be National Airport. It's now Ronald Reagan. I love Reagan. Go put Donald Trump's face on Mount Rushmore. We got the votes in the House. We got the votes in the Senate. I know a guy's going to sign it named Donald John Trump. Let's get it done to memorialize what this man's been able to achieve for this country.
And last week, another bill was introduced to rename the Washington Dulles International Airport after Trump. We could name everything after Trump. We could maybe this mug, the Trump
studio, the Donald Trump Rising studio.
First of all, Dulles is such a horrible airport, and I feel bad even talking about air travel related things on such a solemn day here. But Dulles is not my favorite airport. It's no one's favorite airport, so I'm not sure Donald Trump would want such an airport to be named after him. What about his face on Mount Rushmore?
Well, I mean, what can I even begin to say about this? I mean, obviously, I do not think that Donald Trump should be on Mount Rushmore. Obviously, I think it is an absurd idea.
What if we replaced all the faces with Trump, and it was just Trump's face 4 times?
4 times around. Perhaps we could have his
different
little
poses.
Could we have his little tiny hands on there as well?
Maybe we could get some animatronics going.
I
could
mean,
be a little thing like
look,
this.
We don't even want to contemplate that, Robby. But look, the whole point here is these people, formerly serious people, just beclowning themselves. Jason Chaffetz, for example, supporting the carving of Donald Trump's face onto Mount Rushmore. To me, it's just evidence of this kind of craven behavior where Donald Trump has transformed the Republican Party into this kind of court in the medieval sense, with all these courtiers trying to get his favor all the time, whether it's Corey Lewandowski going on some podcast to say it. Lewandowski, in his defense, seemed to, I think, have a little bit of humor in his voice about it, considering or underlining a slightly absurdist element to it all. But look, this is all about people trying to kiss up to Trump in the most oleaginous way possible.
Look, do I largely agree with you? Yes.
Excellent.
I think it is very silly to discuss changing Mount Rushmore to add anyone who is still a current political figure and a controversial one, even though there are a lot of supporters. There are also a lot of detractors. We should probably only celebrate. We should just leave Mount Rushmore the way it is. There's no reason to do anything more with it, but I think enough time has to pass for us to construct how we feel about a person. Now,
I would say enough time has passed to put a second Roosevelt up there. I would put FDR up there, of course.
I don't know about, he's too, I wouldn't support that. Eisenhower would be my suggestion for an addition to Mount Rushmore. Eisenhower is at least someone who deserves, FDR has a very nice and very significant and large memorial here in Washington, D.C. Eisenhower, who in addition to being a well-regarded president, even by both sides of the political spectrum, is a war hero and helped win World War II against the Nazis, and I think would be someone worth memorializing. I just pulled it up. I knew I'd be able to find it. Guess who formally suggested that Barack Obama's face should be added to Mount Rushmore? Our good friend Don Lemon. So there are some sycophants over there too.
I was actually in a state of suspense to know who it would be, and it was good old Dawn. I must say, Nancy Pelosi just last year suggested that President Biden should eventually go up there, but I don't think, in fairness to Pelosi, she was suggesting immediately. Perhaps she was. The point is, even setting aside the absurdity of putting these people up right now, the whole point of memorializing people is that it is almost always done posthumously, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the idea of putting Trump,
putting Teddy Roosevelt was added pretty quick.
I think
it was not that much in. Was he? I don't know when while I look up when Mount Rushmore was
I'll
carved.
just filibuster when you try to figure out when Teddy Roosevelt was added.
Construction started in 1927, so yeah, he was still alive, and that was only a decade after he'd been president.
Yeah, it was not that far away, which strengthens my case for FDR, who's been decades past and one of our greatest presidents.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump, not the dullest Donald Trump International Airport, not Donald Trump added to Mount Rushmore. We'll stall on all those.
I don't know who's the political figure I like least. I would name Dulles after them because it's not a fun experience flying out of there.
It's not. It's certainly not. I mean, I do think we're having understandably kind of fun with this topic, but I do think part of it is just Republicans offering a sort of excessive tributes of praise to Trump, or trying to suggest things that they know will never happen to just cater favor. It was Andy Ogles, I think, who the congressman from Tennessee, who wanted to change the Constitution to provide for a third Trump term. That's another of these things that is put up in a fanciful way just to be in the good group.
I mean, look, I take umbrage at these things just as much as you do, but I was kind of. I wasn't kidding, but flippantly bringing up the Don Lemon thing. There was a lot. We kind of forget about it now because it's a little bit in the rearview mirror. But the level of fawning over Obama, and Biden didn't get this treatment to the same degree nearly from like the press and from Democratic officials. But there was a lot of celebrity worship of Obama from the get-go.
I think there's a lot of understandable respect for the man's political skills and abilities.
I mean, there were people wanting him to serve a third term too. I remember reading columns from liberals saying, "Oh my God, get rid of this this constitutional amendment that stops."
Well, also he'd have been a much better candidate even running for a third term than Hillary Clinton would have been, and so he would have perhaps prevented a Donald Trump presidency, but that's not how it works.
Nope. You can't stop him from perhaps being on Mount Rushmore. No, that is something that can absolutely be
stopped. We'd stop that immediately.
Unlikely to happen. More to come on Rising. Stay tuned.